Hello everyone and welcome back for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets and drama. So I'm sure for many of us, Global All-Stars probably feels a bit like a fever dream now, but you all seem to really enjoy my Have Your Say videos where you got to vote on whether you agreed with the outcome of the episodes, and I would also incorporate some drama from the episodes into each video. So I know how much you all love the drama, so what I've done is I've compiled just the drama into one long compilation video. So here you go, enjoy Global All-Stars Just the Drama. Also, if you enjoy these videos like the compilation or the Have Your Say, please make sure you just subscribe to my channel to say thank you. I would really appreciate it. And if you don't, then I'm going to tell RuPaul that they need to do another Global All-Stars. So make sure you do it, please. Okay, so moving on to some drama on the back of this episode. As we saw, the fact that Atina Leakis got eliminated was very controversial, and a lot of people felt that she shouldn't have been in the bottom to begin with, and there was a lot of favoritism. Well, someone who obviously agreed with this is Elvilda, who is the winner of Drag Race Belgique Season 2. So Elvilda posted an Instagram story that said, "What's the point of having a global all-stars season if you're going to judge every drag artist by American standards? Feels not correct to me. So all the love to my androgynous freaks, monsters, queer drag artists, your drag is valid. Love you to the moon and back at Atina Leakis, you are the brightest star." And this issue came up a lot of people saying that it was unfair of Ru to make that critique about Atina and the feminization of her outfit, given that she is an androgynous queen. And Elvilda also shared a few other things in her Instagram story, and it was clips of a TikTok video by a content creator called Black Boy, who you may be familiar with. And in Black Boy's video, he gave his opinion on this week's elimination and why he felt that Atina's elimination was unfair. So I'll just play a couple of clips of his video for you.
And well, first things first, we could talk all day about how not a single look in this package is bottom worthy.
I think the issue I have with this outfit is because it's symmetric, it doesn't feminize your body enough.
This comment is an archaic and narrow-minded view of what drag is or could be. As in, this is a critique I thought we left in season 7. 9 years ago. There are so many drag artists across every franchise of Drag Race that have challenged the show to explore the boundaries of what drag could be.
And so it looks like Elvilda must also agree because she shared this in her stories. And I was made aware that the winner of Drag Race Belgique Season 1, which is Drag Queen, also tweeted about this, and she posted saying, "Last Global All-Star episode is," and then the poop emoji. And then at the bottom it says, "so unfair." And then she shared this photo saying, "Hi Ru, does it feminize my body enough?" And this critique that Ru said about not feminizing the body did then get a lot of traction on social media, and a lot of people were saying that it was a very antiquated critique from an earlier season. And the fact that both winners of Drag Race Belgique have both come out and talked about this shows that there is clearly some discontent for this type of critique. So let me know in the comments what you think about this. And finally, we're going to move on to a little bit of drama to do with Gottmik being blackmailed by some hackers. So you may remember that a few years ago, Gottmik got hacked on Twitter, and also so did a few other drag queens such as Selena S. Titties. And we know they got hacked because they started posting tweets talking about selling MacBooks and things like that. And Gottmik eventually managed to get her Twitter account back. But it looks like the same thing has happened again more recently with Gottmik. So the other day I noticed that Gottmik's Twitter account started posting lots of different posts saying that she was selling MacBook Pros. And it was quite obvious this was a scam, and all of the comments were switched off. And there were also a few other messages trying to make it look like these were bona fide tweets, even though they clearly weren't. For example, one of them said, "FYI guys, if you text me, follow back and I'll buy the MacBook. I'm just going to ignore your message. If you're not serious about buying, then don't text me or I will block you." But then it seems like it took a slight turn because Gottmik then started posting on her Instagram instead saying that she was hacked, which seemed kind of obvious. But then Gottmik posted something a bit more alarming saying, "The hackers are scaring me, lol, they got my number through my account." And she shared a screenshot of her Twitter, which has been hacked, and it looked like some messages had been sent to her by text, and it said, "Hi Gottmik, we can make a deal with you." And then there were a few missed calls, and it said, "Let me know when you're available." There were then even more messages, and it said, "A dream, let's make a deal. I don't have any business in the account anymore. If you want to get your account back, let's make a deal. Trust me, otherwise I will sell it to someone else. Don't worry, I won't hurt you, please answer." Then they used Gottmik's name out of drag, which is Cade, and then said, "I will tell you cheap and good price, and I'm waiting for you to answer me," and we can see there were a couple more missed calls. And then it looks like the hacker must have seen that Gottmik was posting these receipts about these text messages. And Gottmik said he already saw, referring presumably to the hacker. And it looks like the hacker sent a screenshot of Gottmik's Instagram story where she was showing these receipts. And the hacker said, "Don't be afraid of me, I say I won't hurt you." And from these messages, we can see that the hacker was clearly trying to blackmail Gottmik and saying that they will give back the account if they can come to some kind of deal. And if they don't, then they're going to sell Gottmik's account to someone else. However, as of today, it looks like Gottmik may have got her Twitter account back because all of the posts about the MacBook are now gone. But the lock icon is still next to Gottmik's name, and usually people do that to say that the account is locked. So I'm not sure if Gottmik has got her account back again or whether the hacker just deleted those tweets. But I think this is just a great reminder to make sure that you're really careful with online security and passwords and things like that, because it's so easy for people just to get into your account. And I'm sure we all probably have some experience of this happening, so please just make sure you keep yourself safe online. So we're now going to move on to a little bit of drama that happened to do with what happened in Untucked with Nilenya and what happened after the episode came out. So as you can imagine, a lot of people started talking about this on social media and started posting clips of when Nilenya confronted the rest of the cast. And one of the queens who weighed in on this was Candy Muse, who responded to this tweet and said, "Half this cast is annoying. My favourite queen went home tonight," which was Miranda, "and I cannot with the favouritism. Italy and Mexico for the win. Good night, #Global All Stars." Candy also followed this up by saying, "Also, them girl groups looked crazy AF." Nilenya then commented on this, and Candy said, "I wanted to jump into the TV screen and fight the girls for you, you're so fun to watch." And Nilenya responded saying, "Oh my god, thanks you, I'm so happy to read these words from you, really appreciated." I also noticed that Nilenya was posting a lot of stuff about this week, and she was reposting a lot of people's posts about what happened in her Instagram stories. And one of them looked like there was a live video between Miss Fiercelicious and Nilenya, and it said, "Miss Fiercelicious is rooting for @Nilenya." And it seems that a lot of queens were getting a lot of hate on social media, particularly the queens who were having the arguments with Nilenya. And one of the people who talked about this and posted about it was Queen Kong. So Queen Kong posted several posts on Twitter/X, and it said, "Full tea, none of y'all were there. You saw the last 5 minutes of a chat that went for over 45 minutes and went round in circles. When Nelly spoke, we started off gently asking who and what she was talking about, because at that point, some of us didn't know who or what could have happened to make her feel this way. None of us, tops or bottoms, got to talk about our critiques, because Untucked was used up with us trying to understand what was happening. We literally met each other 6 days before this." The girls who stormed off were told to come back and talk about their critiques, because no one got to talk about their critiques because all of Untucked was about who made Nelly feel this way. None of us would want @Nilenya to feel like she wasn't welcome or that we didn't want to understand her. Now we're being accused of bullying her because this edit makes our frustration in this situation an attack on her feelings. This is wild. I sat with Nelly at dinner the night before and reassured her about these feelings because we had only met everyone days before. We all come from different backgrounds with different senses of humour, references, language, etc. We were competing for Rue's attention, not each other's. And the reason they stormed off was because they were getting ready to lip sync or help the girls get ready to lip sync. Do with that what you want." And Miss Fiercelicious retweeted Queen Kong's tweet and said, "The fact that she even feels the need to explain herself, some of your fans do too much. You can support your faves without having to put down the rest of the cast. Y'all keep this up and no one's going to want to return to All Stars." I did notice also that a Twitter user tweeted saying that Nalenia had apparently said in a live that in the talent show episode, everyone in the first group was talking bad about her talent and they thought that she should have been in the bottom two. And some other people were saying that Nalenia said in her live that other queens had been talking bad about her, which is why she confronted them about her being underestimated. Although I can't vouch for this because I didn't see Nalenia's live and I can't find a copy of the full thing anywhere. However, Queen Kong did respond to a few people who posted about the situation, and in another tweet that said that all of these people let Nalenia sit alone during lunch breaks because that was another accusation against them. Queen Kong said, "This is a damn lie. At no point did any of us ignore her or let her sit alone. What the F is happening?" I did, however, find on Twitter that someone had posted a clip from Nalenia's live, and it was when Nalenia was saying that she didn't want anyone to send hate to the other queens. So I'll play a bit of the clip for you.
Did to me, so please stop it. Don't be racist. Don't go with hate. There's a television show. I want to say that I talk with a lot of the queen. For example, Kitty Scott close now is very close to me. She say apologize today when she say, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I say, "Please don't say sorry anymore. It's okay now. I love you. So please. Don't go mad. Don't hate queens. She doesn't deserve that."
Another queen who talked about this whole situation was etc., who competed on Drag Race Down Under Season 1. And etc. said, "Yeah, the discourse the fans constantly create around Drag Race has killed the last remaining desire I ever had to return. None of you could ever do what we do. That's why you sit on your ass and watch. Reading some of the comments around Global is spinning my head around." And etc. followed this up by saying, "Drag Race will die at the hands of their completely unhinged fandom, who seem to pathologically despise the brilliant queer individuals who risk everything to entertain you and champion the art form." Okay, so let's move on to a little bit of drama this week, and there was a few different things that came from the back of this week's episode, so I'm going to go through each of them. So the first thing was that, as I mentioned, there's been a lot of talk about favouritism this season, especially towards queens such as Alyssa, Kitty and Queen. And, for example, Tessa Testicle posted saying, "Wouldn't it be so funny if I just won a challenge at one point and became the ESL, or English as a Second Language, Avenger?" And Queen Kong has said a few times on social media that people are complaining about the season being rigged and the favouritism, but those same people aren't actually going out to the gigs and supporting the queens in person. And Queen retweeted Tessa's tweet and said, "Wouldn't it be funny if the fans in Europe put as much energy into actually paying to come see the queens in the clubs, or brought the energy they bring to the comments to tour companies so their fees go up? They talk so much bleep online but don't bring the same support in real life." And Tessa responded to this and said, "Queen Kong, they could never make me hate you." And Queen Kong said, "They better not, I'm your auntie." And Tessa said, "Damn right you are." And in general, Queen has tweeted a few other things because she has received a lot of hate this season and also some death threats, which is obviously completely unacceptable. And she has tweeted a few times giving her perspective on things. And for example, she said, "The thing I've learnt about the fandom who don't see us POC queens as good drag, you expect us to either play mammy or to be a struggle bus so you can give us permission to be confident, otherwise we're bullies. I don't need your permission, get to my level first and then we can talk." A Twitter user then responded to Queen Kong and said, "As someone who actively does support the dolls, what do you mean by bring the comments to tour companies? Sorry for my ignorance, but genuinely curious if that helps to support." And Queen Kong thanked them for supporting and clarified what she meant and said, "I mean, bring the engagement to promoters and agents. If the girls got as much demand in those comments requesting to see them and ticket sales for their shows, they would be touring and performing more and getting paid way more than they are now. The rates for Drag Race queens through Europe are low, yet when an agent books a bigger name, the GP flock to their shows. Bring the same energy. After receiving offers in Europe, I can only imagine how hard it would be for the girls. Every step they take is building the infrastructure. If the fans go for them as hard with bookings and showing up requesting to see them, their fees will go up and they will be able to build bigger opportunities for the communities there at large. How do I know? A master's degree in business and economics will do it." And on a related note, to do with this idea of favouritism, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, there was a lot of people online criticising the fact that the 3 English-speaking queens were all in a group together and that their group won, and that felt very rigged. And a lot of people were also saying that they felt like Kitty should have been in the bottom because of her outfit. And for example, one person who did tweet about this was Georges from season 14 and All Stars 9. And she retweeted a post that was about the winning team this week. And Georges said, Kitty, and then put multiple thumbs down emojis. And this tweet by Georges got a lot of interaction, and for example, some other Drag Race queens also responded. For example, Kerry Colby, also from season 14, said, I keep calling her Skitty, and I think I know why. My brain refuses to process her name, or her, to be honest now. Plain Jane also commented saying, born to drag bees. And Dahlia Sin from season 12 also seemed to agree with Georges and said, literally though, with the laughing emojis. And I did notice that Kitty has posted this look on her Instagram and Twitter, and she did get a lot of really negative comments. And just for example, they did have some comments saying, and you still have the nerve to call others basic, which I think is to do with the fact that during the Untucked part, Kitty was kind of making some comments about Eva's outfit not being up to par, but people were saying that was hypocritical because Kitty's outfit was arguably worse. And there were also some other comments which I can't show because they were really rude, and that did include some death threats to people like Kitty. And just to make it clear, that's really not okay. That's really going beyond what's acceptable. At the end of the day, it is a TV show and it's made for drama. If you don't like a queen or what they're saying, that's fine, but there's no excuse to go online and be hateful and tell queens to end their life. One of the other slightly more random things that came from this week's episode was a comment that was made by Ahura from Drag Race UK Season 2. So Ahura posted in her Instagram story saying, not to be that girl, but I'm really about to be that girl. But aside from a multitude of frustrations with this global all-stars, one thing I cannot comprehend or understand when you're competing on an international worldwide level with a provided wardrobe budget is the audacity to offend your country in wearing AliExpress China-made costumes that we see every local girl wearing. You are supposed to be representing the peak of your country's drag. This is just not it. I've seen this not only used in the runways, but also one used for the promo. I just don't understand the thought process of, yes, this $29.99 printed cleavage bodysuit with stars and a thin wispy fringe is gonna eat. I just don't think it's giving the platform the respect that so many of us would have wanted, and it's not being bitter, I just think it's not giving the show level for fans to gag to give us a second season. But what do I know, lol? I'm just a girl from years ago with a controversial opinion. But I will also say some of these girls' packages have been very impressive. I'm just magnifying specific individuals. And so it sounds like from what Ahura is saying, the queens this season got a stipend of money to pay for the outfits. And although I don't think this has been confirmed officially by anyone, this was confirmed for All Stars 9, and we know that that was the case. So it's not too much of a leap of logic that that could have also happened this season. And some of the fans worked out from what Ahura said that she must have been talking about Vanity Vane because of the description of the printed cleavage bodysuit with stars and a thin wispy fringe. And so people then assumed that Ahura was saying that Vanity Vane shouldn't have used an AliExpress cheap outfit for her promo. I then saw on Twitter that someone posted a picture of a comment that I think looks like it was from a YouTube video, and it said, Vanity Vane slayed so hard. T, by the way, Vanity told at a viewing party that one of the promo assistants accidentally broke her original promo look, so she had to use a lip sync outfit for her promo. And I did see lots of people posting about this, although I couldn't find the source of when Vanity said this. But apparently Vanity's original promo outfit got somehow destroyed or damaged by one of the production assistants, and she wasn't given any budget to help fix it. So presumably this is why she wore this for her promo look, which Ahura then criticised as being a cheap AliExpress outfit. And it seems that Ahura must have then been made aware of this fact, and Ahura then posted another Instagram story that said, Okay, we got the breakdown that my comment wasn't valid in regards to promo look as the specific queens was damaged by a set assistant. However, why was AliExpress still packed in your case? No offense, but even being for a lip sync, you buy something cheap and basic and you stone that bee, you add belts and a bleep heel with a human unit, and you style the bleep out of that lip sync look over wearing a distinctive pre-made look. For context, I'm not digging, I'm saying this is the Olympics, like look at the sporting theme of your promo for awareness of what they are asking. I'm aware it's been hard enough on girlies with certain judging, but agree or disagree with their opinions, you should do your most best so that regardless of the outcome, you're happy walking away knowing you have the best version of you. And for me, the thought into some drag isn't much thought, more what's easy to fit a theme cheap. And cheap can be spenny looking. Some of my looks on my season years ago stand the legs of time and only spent 3k. Bearing in mind some girls make some of the most iconic looks on seasons in 24 hours with unconventional materials. Time and money isn't an excuse for this season, baby. It's not at one queen, it's at multiple, and not just with this franchise, but I think this being presented as the top tier like a World All-Stars after we just left All-Stars 9, it's not quite hitting. In the words of Miranda, that's all. And Ahora's post got a lot of traction and people were reposting it on social media. And for example, Tessa Testicle first retweeted both of them on Twitter and said, "Not too much on my sisters." And then she retweeted her own tweet and said, "I'm sorry, but I kind of live for this take." And so it looks like Ahura was saying, even though Vanity wore this as a promo look because her original promo look got damaged, but she still shouldn't have brought it for a lip sync look because it's an off-the-rack AliExpress cheap outfit. But let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think it's okay for the queens to wear something cheap that's off the rack, or do you think that that's unacceptable even if it's a lip sync outfit? Okay, so I now just want to move on to a little bit of drama and backstage tea to do with this week's episode. So as we know, Kitty did not necessarily come across that well this week, and there was a lot of tension between her and Nalenia. However, as I said, there was a lot of stuff that happened afterwards, and we have to remember that this was filmed probably almost a year ago, and the queens have probably made up and talked a lot more since then. And Kitty was getting a lot of hate on social media, and there was some really horrible, vile things being said about her. So, Nalenia did post an Instagram story that said, "Here again asking you to not send hate to anyone. It's a TV show, time has passed, and between us queens everything is okay now. Many misunderstandings certainly derive from the fact that we have different cultures of origin. As an Italian and an extremely sensitive person, I tend to experience emotions perhaps too intensely. And for this reason, I may have been misunderstood. The cow said by Kitty was not an offence. It is an interlayer of her language. We are still playing on her stupid cow at Kitty Scott Claus, and I are very close now, and it hurts me to read some hateful comments towards her. I understand taking a stand, supporting your favourite queens, but do it with respect. Kindness will save the world." Nalenia also then posted a few other things to her Instagram story. For example, she posted a photo of her and Dolores Umbridge from Harry Potter, because this is what Kitty called her in the episode. And Nalenia said, "At Kitty Scott Claus, maybe you were right." And it seemed as though Nalenia was then saying that actually that Dolores Umbridge comment was not meant in an offensive way necessarily, it was just that they were both dressed quite similarly. And Nalenia followed this up by sharing a post from Kitty Scott Claus, and it was a photo of Kitty and Nalenia at what looks like DragCon, and the caption says, "Just want to come on here and say how much I adore at Nalenia, even if she cries over my fabric." And Nalenia also shared a post from Kitty where she had reposted a picture of a margarita pizza, which was obviously to do with this week's episode, and Nalenia had reposted it, so it's assumed that Nalenia maybe also found it funny. However, a few queens also called out Kitty after this episode, and one of them was season 12 contestant Dahlia Sin, who said, "This Kitty girl is getting on nerves. Please shut the F up sometimes, please." Another person who then commented on this was Electra Bionic, who is the winner of Drag Race Italia. So Electra posted quite a long Instagram story, and basically it started off with her saying that she understands that it's a competition, but everyone should feel safe. And she tagged Kitty Scott Claus and Queen Kong and said, "I am truly disgusted by your behaviour. And also, I do not feel represented at all, neither as an artist or as an LGBT plus exponent by Kitty and Queen that are currently bullying Nalenya in any possible ways. This is tremendously upsetting. I personally know Nalenya and I can guarantee that he is among the sweetest and most kind people I have ever met. And let me tell you, these strengths are often mistaken for weaknesses. Being bullied is not pleasant at all. I do think many of us have always been bullied in somehow, somewhere around. As a community, we should stand and stop this terrible behaviour towards others, which of course includes Nalenya. Let's stop bullying people. I am proud of my sister at Nalenya." Nalenya then reposted this and said thank you at Electra Bionic and said that she's such a queen and that bullying people in life and online is wrong and we need to stop sending hate and start respecting people, and it's impossible to stop the bullies being bullies. And she also said thank you to Electra for being a great sister. However, this then led to a little bit of drama because Enorma Jean, who also competed on Drag Race Italia, then posted an Instagram story of her own. Now, just to explain in case you don't know, Enorma Jean competed on Drag Race Italia, and she was actually eventually kicked off the season because she and another queen had a huge argument in Untucked, and Enorma ended up swearing at some of the production staff and stormed off, and later she was brought to the runway and she was kind of told off by the host and had to lip sync for her life along with another queen who was also arguing. And then at the end, Enorma was eliminated from the competition. And I did talk about this in one of my videos about banned queens, because Enorma has since come out and said that the queens on her season were all ganging up and bullying her, and that's what led to her being kicked off her season. And this is important because after Electra Bionic's Instagram post, Enorma Jean then posted her own post that said, "Are you serious at Electra Bionic? Like really? Want to talk about the bullying? Start with the season you were on. You and all the other sisters who systematically bullied an old queen starting from day one. At Farida Kant walking out screaming as soon as I walk in. Leave alone drunk at Avant-Garde Drag. Screaming by night out of my window. Every word you quote queens of first season RuPaul's Drag Race Italia say about bullying is an insult to intelligence. Enough is enough, shut up and be beautiful, it's the best you can do, you all." And so it seems that there still is quite a lot of animosity between a lot of the queens from Drag Race Italia, and Enorma, by the looks of it, is saying that she felt like Electra Bionic was being a little bit disingenuous. And another topic that came up quite a lot was the margarita pizza comment that was made in this week's episode. Okay, so now I want to move on to a little bit of unrelated drama to do with Plain Jane and Chappell Roan. So, as many of you will know, Chappell Roan is an American singer and she's kind of exploded in popularity in recent years. And a few months ago, season 16 contestant Plain Jane tweeted about Chappell Roan, who often uses drag elements in her shows. And Plain Jane said, "Will I get tomatoes thrown at me if I say that Chappell Roan's love for drag feels performative as F? No shade queens secure the bag." And I did talk about this in a previous video, but a lot of people then started criticising Plain Jane and started defending Chappell Roan and said that Plain Jane was just clout chasing or that she was being rude about Chappell. And Plain Jane did also joke about this afterwards at the time, but it looks like she's now since made another comment that has also gone viral about Chappell Roan. So the season 16 queens recently went to the VMAs. Plain Jane said that her outfit was inspired by Chappell Roan, and it's assumed that she was making a reference because she had previously said this thing about Chappell Roan. And at one point during the VMAs, there was a bit where they were doing a photo shoot, and the camera went past the queens, and when it went past Plain, she put up her hands almost to say, "Don't look at me, don't want the cameras in my face." And this moment went a little bit viral on social media, and people said that it was disrespectful because they were saying that Plain was making fun of Chappell. And the reason for that is because in the past, Chappell has said that she needs to set boundaries between her and the press because the press have done a lot of intrusive things, and she said that she doesn't want cameras in her face all the time. Chappell has also stated in the past that she has a stalker who actually showed up to her parents' home and her hotel room, and this has caused her a lot of mental anguish. So people were saying that Plain was making fun of this by dressing as Chappell and then saying she didn't want cameras in her face. And Plain got a lot of backlash because of this on social media. Plain later tweeted and said, logging off of drag and hating Twitter for the day, enjoys squawking into the cyber abyss I got the Emmys to prepare for. One of the other things that happened that kind of tied into this was that on the red carpet for the VMAs that Chapel was also at, one of the photographers shouted, "Shut the F up," and it's assumed that they were talking to Chapel, and Chapel actually turned around and said, "Shut the F up" back.
This is quite overwhelming and quite scary. I think for someone who gets a lot of anxiety around people yelling at you, the carpet is horrifying.
And Plain got a lot of backlash on social media, with a lot of people saying that dressing up as Chapel and then pretending to not want cameras in her face was making fun of Chapel and all of the mental anguish that she's been through. However, some people defended Plain Jane and said that it was just drag and that she was just being funny. Plain Jane also did post a short video from the VMAs where it appears that she actually met Chapel Roan and the two of them seemed to laugh together. And Plain Jane also continued to talk a little bit about Chapel Roan on social media when Pop Bass had tweeted saying that Chapel Roan reveals that her hit song Good Luck Babe was originally titled Good Luck Jane. And Plain Jane retweeted that and said, "Gag it." And so again, it looks like Plain Jane got a lot of backlash because of this stuff to do with Chapel Roan. And although some people were supporting Plain Jane, there were also lots of people that said that Plain Jane was being a troll and was being insensitive to Chapel Roan. But let me know in the comments what you think about this. Okay, so moving on to some very light drama this week. So, as you know, there's been a lot of talk about favouritism this season, especially RuPaul favouring the English-speaking queens. And Gala's elimination this week was very controversial because Gala was an extremely talented but also a very popular contestant. And I noticed that RuPaul posted a video this week, and it was actually about Michelle Visage and her birthday. And RuPaul was just saying happy birthday to Michelle and the fact that they've been friends for so long. But if you look at the comments, so many of the comments were about Gala Barrow. And for example, people were saying things like, Mexico is a gigantic market for global drag, our artists deserve to be respected and valued, the world isn't ready for toughness like Gala Barrow, long live our wilted face. And other people were just writing Gala Barrow with love hearts or the Mexican flag. And people in general were just commenting and saying, for example, thank you for missing Gala Barrow. It was too much for your program. Your preference for others who are poorly dressed is evident. I hope others cancel subscriptions to never give you money again. And in general, the whole of this comment section on Instagram was just completely flooded by Gala Barrow comments. And it was very interesting to see because RuPaul was then getting backlash on pretty much all social media where she was posting this video about Michelle. And it seemed to be an opportunity for people to then criticize Gala Barrow's elimination. And for example, I also noticed on TikTok, RuPaul posted the same video about Michelle's birthday. And again, the comments were flooded with comments about Gala Barrow. And I think this speaks in general to the fact that there's been a huge amount of talk about favoritism on Global All Stars, and Global All Stars is now one of the lowest rated seasons of all time on IMDb, and pretty much every episode has very low ratings. So it will be interesting to see whether this makes a difference to the editing and things like that for future seasons, and whether they'll actually be a Global All Stars again. But let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think RuPaul deserves this backlash? And do you think it was fair to talk about all of this in the comments about a video about Michelle Visage's birthday? Or do you think that that was too much? There were also a lot of comments from people saying they thought that Ru just didn't like Gala and wanted her gone. And for example, someone said, I love you so much and Gala as well, but it really feels like they just wanted her gone. They wore her out to the point where she just wanted to go. Production was really messy this season. And in terms of Gala Barrow, there was also a lot of outpouring of love for her this week. For example, Vanity Vane posted an Instagram story and it was a photo of her with Gala. And it said, I have so much love for this human being. Instantly, we found each other on set, shared stuff with each other I normally don't talk about. You have such a special place in my heart. I love you, my Gala la 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 la. And Vanity posted a photo on Instagram of her lip sync outfit, and Gala commented saying, I love you so much. And just moving on to a little bit of other drama that happened. So you may remember that in a previous video I talked about the fact that Ahura from Drag Race UK had called out certain queens for having promo outfits that were very cheap, and she accused one contestant of having a $29.99 bodysuit from AliExpress, and from the description they worked out that it was Vanity Vane. So after all of that went down, Vanity Vane actually ended up clapping back at Ahura. So Vanity Vane posted a photo of her in her promo look, and she said, "Since everyone seems to be completely obsessed with this look, here, now it can be yours too." And then there was a link that said only for you. And when you clicked on the link, it took you to the AliExpress listing. Now, I actually went onto the listing and had a look. If you look at the price, this is in USD. I thought it was interesting that Ahura had said it was $29.99, but this actually seems to be $69.83. So this is quite a bit more expensive than what Ahura said. So I don't know if Ahura was basing that on anything or whether that was just supposed to be an exaggeration to say that it was cheap. But what I thought was interesting is, if we look at the listing photos, this looks different in terms of the colour to what Vanity then wore in the promo. And so, for example, you can see that the balls on the front are normally just more like pearl coloured, whereas in Vanity's promo, they're yellow. So it does look like Vanity maybe changed this and added some stuff to it, or at least changed the colour for her promo. And we also found out the other week that Vanity did have another look for her promo outfit, but it got damaged by a production member, so she had to wear this lip sync outfit instead for her promo. But what I thought was interesting is last week, Vanity was in the bottom, although she didn't lip sync, and I noticed that she was wearing this outfit. So it seems like Vanity had this outfit and it was unaltered by the looks of it in terms of the colour, and so it looks like Vanity then changed the colour of it and did some extra stuff to it for the promo look. Okay, so moving on to a little bit of drama that happened recently. So Nilenya called out a podcast for making some bullying comments. So as we know, this season has not been very well received, and there's been a lot of accusations of favoritism and bullying. Well, recently, Nilenya called out a podcast for making some comments about her, and this podcast has subsequently deleted the episodes. So Nilenya tweeted saying, "So, a podcast about Global All-Stars has been talking badly about me for weeks, and I'm fine with it, I accept it, because you can't please everyone. What I do not accept, however, is incitement to hatred. Saying that someone deserves to be bullied is disgusting. No one, and I mean no one, deserves bullying. And condemning any person only as a victim of certain attitudes is embarrassing. I never wanted to ride the wave of the victim, but I tried by every means to defend the others and their possible wrong attitudes towards me, asking loudly not to send hate. The role of the victim does not belong to me. My role is more that of a peace fighter. Proud of who I am. I won't be here to justify myself for who I am in front of and behind the cameras. But if we talk disproportionately about bullying, you will always find me ready to have my say. Sorry." Nilenya then posted a clip from a podcast, and she tweeted saying, "From a podcast on a program like RuPaul Drag Race, from people in the LGBTQIA+ community, as human beings, inciting bullying and thinking that someone deserves bullying is disgusting. The bully is never justified. #StopBullying." And in the clip, which comes from a podcast, the two people in the podcast are talking about Nilenya, and one of them says that Nilenya deserves to be bullied because of the way that she was acting on the show. And it seems that someone must have sent this to Nilenya, and she then called them out about it. Shortly after Nilenya posted about this podcast and posted a clip of the podcast, people quickly figured out which podcast it was. I'm not going to actually reveal the name of the podcast because they have since deleted this and apologised, which I'll get onto in a moment. However, people in the comments were posting the name and the link to the podcast, and they were encouraging people to go and send hate and leave mean comments. Nilenya then said, "Please stop sending any type of hate. If I say hate is something wrong, I mean every kind of hate. So stop doing anything. The girl wrote to me and said she is sorry and that she understands that she deserves to be bullied, and this is something we can't say. We can move on." Shortly after this, the podcast episode got removed because it had also got lots and lots of mean comments, as well as lots of low ratings on things like Spotify, and then also rude comments on things like YouTube. And it seems like the entirety of their podcast for Global All Stars, every single episode has since been deleted. And just to make it clear, it's never okay to send hate, and I don't agree with what they were saying in the podcast, saying that Nalenia deserved to be bullied. No one deserves to be bullied, and that comment was completely unacceptable. But unfortunately, some people took that very far, and they then started sending death threats to the people who said that in the podcast. And Nalenia had to step in to tell people not to do that because that wasn't what she intended when she called them out. But unfortunately, that is what happened. However, the people have apologised and they've removed the episodes, so hopefully that is now sorted. And something similar sort of happened to Kitty Scott-Claus. So if you follow Kitty on social media, you may know that she's lost a considerable amount of weight and gone on a fitness journey between the time when they filmed Global All Stars and now. And Kitty has been posting updated photos of her runway looks now, and obviously her body looks quite different to how it did on Global All Stars. However, in Kitty's most recent Instagram post, she posted a photo of her runway from this week, and a lot of people in the comments started saying a lot of really mean, horrible things about Kitty and her body. For example, someone said, "This outfit looks horrible even with the weight loss." A lot of people also said that they were AI generated photos, and it looks like she lost 60 pounds, but on the show she's still big. Kitty responded to these people and said, "I've lost over 7 stone since we filmed the season nearly a year ago." And for any Americans, 7 stone is 98 pounds. Someone else commented saying, "Your neck is not that skinny, girl." And Kitty responded saying, "It literally is, look at the video on my story, hun." Other people also said that she looked good, but she did not deserve her wins. And Kitty responded saying, "We don't decide placement wins who goes home, doll. I ain't a producer, XOXO. And we can see that Kitty at some point had to limit the comments on the post because she was getting so many hateful comments. And people were saying things like, "Kitty is so overrated, wasn't funny at all," or someone called her unpleasant and mean with puke emojis. Someone also tweeted a photo of Kitty's runway from Global All Stars and the updated one, and someone said, "Clearly a diet consisting of nothing but hatred for Nalenia does a body good." And this is obviously a reference to the joke made during the roast on All Stars 2 about Roxy Andrews. And Kitty responded to this tweet and said, "I used to spend ages making and posting side by side to show off my weight loss. You guys are the best." And in the comments, some people started saying, "Nobody loves you, girl, you're trash." And Kitty responded saying, "You're obsessed with me and I love it," which is a reference to Gemma Collins, which is something that she said on Big Brother, and Gemma Collins is the person that Kitty did on Snatch Game on her original season.
I don't think about you at all.
I think you do.
I don't. You're obsessed with me. And I love it.
Okay, so moving on to a bit of drama that happened after this week's episode on the back of the fight in Untucked between Queen and Nalenia. So, as we saw, Queen said during Untucked that she thought Nalenia and Pythia were going to be in the bottom this week, and she didn't think that Pythia looked that great. Well, after this episode came out, there seemed to be a lot of accusations and backlash against what happened. It's a bit complicated as multiple people were involved, so I'm going to give a timeline of what happened, although some of the timings are a little bit unclear because they overlap. However, before I start, I just want to say that a lot of this drama happened on social media and Reddit, and so some of this information may not be true or verified, so please bear that in mind. Okay, so the drama seemed to start when someone on the RPDR drama subreddit posted saying that Nalenia was on Instagram Live and apparently said that during Untucked, there was an alleged unaired fight between Queen and Alyssa. Alyssa was supposedly telling Queen not to go so hard on Nalenia, and the Reddit user alleged that Nalenia said in her live that the fight almost got physical between Queen and Alyssa. According to a person who screen recorded Nalenia's live, they only started screen recording after Nalenia had mentioned the unaired fight, but they said that Nalenia did say that. I did find a few clips of the live on Reddit and also TikTok, but I think this may be a different live that Nalenia did after the one where she allegedly talked about the unaired fight. However, in one of the clips that I did find, Nalenia said that she did say to production that Queen was bullying her and Queen should be disqualified because of it.
I can I don't have problem to say. I say to the some of the production, say, for me it's too much. This is bully. She need to be disqualified for that. But they say it's not bullying. She just she just exposed her opinion. But yeah, it was the only time that I used that word during all the recording. Just in this episode, I use it.
There was also another clip where Nelenia seemed to mention a fight with Alyssa, but from the clip, it's not 100% clear what she meant.
How long was the fight between Alyssa? Very long. I remember. I really don't know the time because I don't have watch.
And so there seemed to be a lot of speculation about what Nelenia had said during the live about the unaired fight, but there didn't seem to be any definitive proof. There was then another Reddit post which appeared to show a screenshot of a tweet where someone was responding to these accusations, and they said that it was all untrue and that people were sending racist comments over a lie. And Nelenia commented on this with the eyes emoji, but that was it. And I did try and find this tweet to see if any more was said, but I couldn't find it, so it may have been deleted. Anyway, after these accusations came out about the alleged physical fight between Queen and Alyssa, someone then posted a video clip on Reddit with the headline, "Seems like the violence with Alyssa is on par with Queen's behaviour at local bars." In the video clip, it appears to show Queen fighting with someone else, but the footage is quite shaky and it's not exactly clear what happened. The person who posted this on Reddit also claimed that this video is from an incident that happened a few weeks ago and that there were other videos like this as well. However, this appears to be false, and this video is actually from 2018 and had already been talked about years before. So it seems that the person who posted this video clip was either misinformed or they were deliberately spreading wrong information about Queen. I then saw on Instagram that a user with the handle Tessa's Testicles posted a screenshot of what appeared to be a DM conversation with Queen Kong. In the DM conversation, Queen confirmed that this clip was actually from 2018, and the person Queen was fighting with was another drag queen. And this queen had apparently been racist towards Queen and called her the N-word and an overgrown monkey and told her to go back to where she came from. And so Queen was just defending herself. There was also a screenshot of what looks like a Facebook post from 2018 where Queen had addressed this video clip at the time and explained why the fight had happened, and she said that she doesn't condone violence, but she was defending herself against the racist person. And so this Facebook post, which is dated 2018, does seem to prove that this video is from 2018 and is not a recent video, despite what the person on Reddit said. But back to the accusations of the unaired fight in Untucked, Soa Demuse then went live on Instagram and a clip was posted on the RPDR drama subreddit. In Soa's live, she said that Nelenia is going to get in trouble with the contract because she's spilling backstage tea, and Soa also questioned why Nelenia was bringing all of this up now. Soa also responded to a tweet someone had posted about the original Reddit post where they said Nelenia said there was almost a physical fight between Queen and Alyssa, and Soa replied saying, "The lies, the lies, the lies." There was then another live on Instagram, and this time it was between Soa and Nelenia. Apparently the live got cut short because Soa's phone battery died, and Nelenia had to go to lunch with her family. I couldn't find a clip of this part of the live, but there was another clip which was just Soa on her own, which I think happened after Soa recharged her phone and came back on the live, but Nelenia didn't come back because she was still with her family. According to Soa, Nelenia also said that she never said that there was almost a physical fight between Queen and Alyssa, and that's why Soa commented on the tweet saying the lies, because it was all wrong information that Nelenia had not actually said that, but people were spreading this wrong information. In the meantime, Queen Kong also posted on Twitter and shared a photo of her and Nelenia from this week's mini challenge and said, "Okay, but I really had the nerve to say brother when, of all the girls, I'm the brother. Delusional. Congrats on your win at Nelenia, those looks were stunning." However, in the comments on that tweet, there was a lot of backlash with people saying that Queen needed to take accountability and apologise for her behaviour. Queen also reposted a few things in her Instagram stories where people were saying that Queen and Soa were robbed of the win this week and that there was a lot of favouritism. However, this caused even more backlash, with people saying that Queen wasn't helping the situation and that she has had a lot of favouritism herself this season, so it was ironic that she was reposting these things. And it looks like Queen has since removed some of these reposts. Another Queen who also posted about the situation was Atina Likas. A Twitter user posted some photos of Atina from Untucked, saying that she was watching when everyone was arguing. Atina responded to this and said, "Girl, in real life I was shook. I can't stand to see a sister bullied." Someone then replied to Atina and said, "In fact, you were that shaken by the whole ordeal, you didn't stand up for her but laughed along." And Atina responded to that person and said, "We stand up for her at that moment, but remember there's an edit." And so it seemed that Atina was implying there was more to the fight in Untucked, but it had been edited and was different in what we saw. In the meantime, Queen had been getting a lot of hate and backlash on social media because of all of this, and Queen then eventually posted a formal response to these accusations in 2 Instagram stories which were also posted on Twitter. The posts are quite long, but I'll read them in full to make sure that I give you all the information. So the first of Queen's posts said, "I had to pray on this the past few days because I don't usually give in to things being said online, but there's a lot of accusations going around based on what Nalenya is saying happened off camera. This is now impacting my reputation and the way I support and provide for my family. Please stop with the exaggerated stories. A fight that almost got physical outside the studio that producers intervened in off camera ? This is ridiculous. Alyssa is my sister, and like true sisters we have an understanding of each other based on where we come from and what we are about. We know how to address each other and deal with our business with love and respect, which is why we have the relationship like we do to this day. Everything we discussed in our discussion together happened in the workroom while still on camera and fully mic'd. If it is what you say, they have had no problems showing all of the things said to make TV, and this would be no different. It's unfair to implicate both of us over something you were not a part of. The irony here is, if we're going to talk off camera, you know exactly why I came for you so harsh in Untucked. When Atina said that me and Soa have the best family resemblance, you know exactly what you said to Soa that upset her and the reason that I came for you. You said, but Soa, how do you feel that RuPaul only sees you as a superstar because you look like Queen Kong? That upset Soa to the point she didn't say anything. This is why I came in so hot. My delivery may have been harsh and what I said was mean, but I would never come at someone unwarranted. I've never been that girl." Then in the second Instagram story, Queen said, "You and I both know, after the situation I apologise profusely for taking your shade, going below the belt and tarnishing your moment. Throwing around the word bully, accusing me of these horrible things off camera and admitting you said to production to remove me from the competition because of what you speculate happened is so malicious and underhanded. To get on live and push rumours that are exaggerating facts to make me sound like a monster is reckless and borderline defamation. I worked hard, stood my ground in situations, spoke with my chest and made TV representing the girls I represent. The ones that you are trying to villainize that have a reason to be tough. That comes from cultures and worlds that have had to learn how to fight because of where we come from and what we have had to deal with within our own communities before even facing the cruelty of this Western world. I'm not ashamed of the things that have happened to me in my past, as it's made me the loving, thick-skinned, staunch, unapologetic Pacific warrior queen that I am. Majority of you have not experienced the things I have had to experience to exist in the same spaces as you, and if my behaviour was as you described, production would have removed me. You can band together to talk all the mess you want, but stop with the exaggerated stories to push your narrative about me. It's becoming so dangerous not only for me, but now for the children I raise in my family that are now being threatened by your fans. I don't deserve this over a TV show we made together a year ago. I'm done with this." And in the comments on Twitter, there was a mix of some people criticising Queen and saying that she still wasn't taking accountability for her actions. But there were also people defending Queen, saying that people were spreading lies about her and sending her hate unnecessarily. And so far, no one else seems to have talked about this situation any further, so for now, this is all the information we have, and we'll have to see if any more information comes out about this in the future.
Okay, so we're now going to be talking about a recent development to do with Bob the drag queen addressing the allegations against Shangela. So, as some of you may know, Shangela has had multiple accusations of intimate assault made against her over the past few years. And so far, Bob, who starred with Shangela on the show We're Here, has not really ever addressed these allegations. However, Bob has now talked about this for the first time. But before we go through that, I just want to give a brief overview of the allegations that have been made against Shangela for those of you who may not know. Before we start, I just want to give a trigger warning for this part of the video that we will be talking about allegations of intimate assault, or SA. Also, just to make it clear, these are allegations, and I'm simply reporting on publicly available information, and I can't guarantee the validity of any of this information. So, back in 2021, an accusation of intimate assault was made against Shangela, and since then, multiple other people have also come forward and made similar accusations against Shangela. Although these accusations date as far back as 2012, the news didn't really gain traction until 2023. Rolling Stone published a very in-depth report in March 2024 where they did an investigation into these allegations, and a lot of the information in this video comes from this article, and I'll link to it in the sources section in the video description. I won't go through the whole article, but I'll give a brief overview of what the accusations against Shangela are. So, in 2023, a production assistant from the HBO show We're Here, which stars Shangela and Bob the Drag Queen among others, came forward and said that Shangela had intimately assaulted him during the production of We're Here. The incident allegedly happened in 2020. The victim then made a complaint to the production company in 2021, and the incident had apparently been investigated at the time, but there had been, quote, insufficient evidence to support the allegations. The alleged victim said that Shangela had provided him with lots of alcohol, and he had thrown up and passed out on a hotel bed. And then he had woken up to Shangela trying to forcibly perform a certain intimate act on him. And Shangela allegedly said, quote, "I know you want it, you're going to take it." The victim later brought a civil case against Shangela, but they reached a settlement in February 2024 and the case was dropped. Rolling Stones spoke to 5 other alleged victims who made similar accusations against Shangela, and these alleged separate incidents spanned multiple years and different locations. In general, the victims said that they were quite a bit younger than Shangela when the various incidents occurred, and they were starstruck when they met her, which meant that there was a power dynamic between them. Most of the alleged victims said that Shangela provided them with alcohol and they blacked out, and they claimed that Shangela tried to forcibly perform certain intimate acts on them while they were either incapacitated or under the influence. And some of them claim that they said no to Shangela and did not give consent. The article does go into these allegations in more detail, and some of it is quite graphic, but I won't go into that in this video. Some people have also since alleged that there is a pattern of behaviour with multiple similar accusations made against Shangela. However, one witness quoted in the Rolling Stones article came forward and defended Shangela and claimed that one of the alleged victims had made false claims after that victim had apparently pursued Shangela romantically and then allegedly embarrassed themselves by getting too drunk and throwing up. Since then, one of the alleged victims has filed a lawsuit against Shangela, but as of right now, it doesn't seem to have been resolved. Shangela has denied all of the allegations, and in a statement to the LA Times, she said, quote, "I can't begin to explain how hurt and disgusted I am by these totally untrue allegations. I will fight this entire meritless lawsuit and not allow it to destroy me and those I love or harm the causes we all stand for." There is also another victim who came forward since the Rolling Stones article with accusations against Shangela. And since these accusations came out a few years ago, this topic has become a big talking point within the Drag Race community. However, one of the queens who had not addressed this so far was Bob the drag queen, who co-starred with Shangela on the show We're Here. But Bob recently addressed these accusations for the first time, and multiple news outlets picked up on it. On the 11th of October 2024, Bob and Monet on their podcast Sibling Rivalry posted a video where they were talking about the recent allegations of intimate assault made against the rapper P. Diddy. And as part of that video, Bob also addressed the allegations made against Shangela. Bob said that some people have taken her silence on this issue so far as a form of allyship, or that Bob was trying to silence victims. But Bob said that that allegation is, quote, wild to me. Bob clarified that the reason she hadn't said anything is because she didn't know what was going on and she, quote, didn't want to spread rumours. But Bob made it clear that she certainly stands with victims, and she said, quote, 6 people is incredibly damning, presumably referring to the 6 victims that have made allegations against Shangela. Bob also said she hopes that these people get the justice they need, and she can't imagine what it must be like for victims to see someone they've accused of assault on TV and being celebrated for it. Bob then said, quote, that would F me up mentally. She continued and said that her silence was not in any way a form of support, and that people on the internet jumped to conclusions, which she understands, but that is not the case. Monet then mentioned that recently, another victim had come forward and posted a video on Instagram where they detailed their accusations against Shangela. The assault apparently happened in 2017 during the production of Hurricane Bianca 2, which is a sequel movie that came out in 2018, which stars Bianca Del Rio, and Shangela was also in the movie. And the victim said that they worked as a PA during the production of the movie. After this video with accusations against Shangela got posted, Bianca commented on the video saying, I'm sorry you experienced this, my friend. I'm here for you always. And a few other queens such as Honey Davenport and Crystal also commented on the post with messages of support. But back to Bob and Monet, and Bob went on to say that you should always have consent, and Bob said she doesn't understand why people would want to be with someone who isn't enthusiastic about it, and if they're not into it, you shouldn't do it. And Monet said, unfortunately, a lot of famous people use their fame to exert power and coercion over others. Although Monet seemed to be talking generally, and she didn't specifically mention Shangela's name in this part of the video. And as I mentioned earlier, after Bob and Monet talked about the accusations against Shangela on the podcast, multiple news outlets picked up about it, and people talked about it on social media because it was the first time Bob had ever spoken about it publicly. And as of now, all of these are just allegations, and no official charges have been made against Shangela as far as I can see, so we'll have to wait and see if any further developments come out about this case.
Okay, so we're now going to move on to a little bit of drama that happened after the finale, which involves Nelenia calling out Vanity Vane for some comments that she made. So, as you will know if you've been following my Have Your Say series for Global All-Stars, there's been quite a bit of drama this season between the queens, and Nelenia was one of the main topics of this drama. In a previous video, I mentioned that there had been some drama of an apparent unaired fight in Untucked between Alyssa Edwards and Queen Kong. Someone had said in a Reddit thread that Nelenia said during an Instagram live that there had been a big fight between Queen and Alyssa because Alyssa had apparently been standing up for Nelenia after Queen criticised Nelenia during the makeover challenge. However, it seemed that this rumour of a physical fight may not have been true, and in fact, Queen Kong wrote a lengthy social media post afterwards denying that the fight ever happened. And I did talk about this in more detail in a previous video, which I'll link to in the description. However, the general consensus on social media was that there probably was some kind of argument, or at least some kind of tension between the queens, and that it had spilled over onto social media quite a few times throughout the season. And this became even more evident after a recent comment that Vanity Vane made at a viewing party after the finale came out. So a video clip of Vanity from a viewing party was shared online, and it got a lot of traction on social media. In the clip, Vanity is speaking Swedish, but there are English subtitles. I don't speak Swedish, so I can't guarantee that the subtitles are correct, but several people in the comments on Twitter who do speak Swedish said that the subtitles were accurate. So if there are any Swedish speakers watching, please let me know in the comments if the subtitles are correct. I'll play the video clip now, but the main point in the video is that Vanity claims that it was actually Nelenia who had a big fight with Alyssa in Untucked. And Vanity also says that Nelenia has, quote, another side to her when the cameras are off.
Håll inte på så, jag säger det som det är direkt. Innan hjärnan har tänkt så kör munnen. Nej, det var faktiskt Alyssa och Nelly som hade ett riktigt jävla bråk. Ja, Nelly, alltså I love her. I love her. Men Nelly har en annan sida när kameran är av. Så jag lämnade det här. Girl? Oh girl. Oh my god.
And as you can imagine, this clip then got a lot of traction on social media. In the comments, some people were defending Nelenia and saying that Vanity shouldn't be making these types of comments and fueling the hate towards the other queens. However, there were also other people who were saying that perhaps Nelenia was not the way that she was portrayed on the season, and there might be a reason why she was involved in drama with several queens. Nelenia then responded to this video clip and retweeted it saying, "So, different viewing party, different version. Vanity, I love you, but how I was different out of cameras. It's a serious question because I would really like to understand how I had such a different side to what has been seen." Shortly after Nelenia posted this response, the Twitter user who posted the video clip of Vanity deleted the tweet, saying that they never expected it to blow up like that, and they didn't want to fuel any hate towards the queens. This meant that the responses to the posts also got deleted, and I don't believe Vanity ever responded to Nelenia's post. And, in general, the reaction to all of this online was that people were saying that Global All-Stars was a messy season, and it's clear that some of the queens may have had some issues with each other. Several of the other queens from the season, such as Soa Demuse and Atina Leakers, have also previously posted about the apparent fights, and so it's not exactly clear what really happened. And it looks doubtful that we'll ever actually find out what really happened. You may also remember that Queen Kong got a lot of backlash a few episodes ago after the comments that she made to Nelenia in Untucked during the makeover challenge. And Queen had posted on social media saying that she got a lot of abuse online as a result of this, as well as death threats, and she posted a lengthy response about it on social media. Well, Queen has now posted another social media post related to this. So after the finale came out, Queen posted quite a long post where she thanked everyone for their support and said how amazing it was to be on the season. She also addressed the backlash that she has received this season and said, "This storm that I'm going through now will pass, and though I'm standing in it soaking wet, I know, like all things I've been through in my life, I'll embrace the journey and grow to be 10 times stronger." She then followed this up by saying, "My intentions with my journey through the show was never to hurt or upset anyone. It pains me to feel misunderstood in moments seen as I really was delivering the best version of myself I could be at that time, both good and bad. Lessons have been learned and boundaries have been created moving forward." Several other queens commented on Queen Kong's post, such as Alyssa Edwards, who gave a message of support to Queen and said how grateful she was to work alongside her. Soa Demuse also posted a comment in French, which I've translated into English, where she also sent a message of support to Queen. Several other queens such as Vanity Vane, Tessa Testicle and Kitty Scott Claus also left similar comments too, as well as several other Drag Race queens. And this is a great reminder that this is just a TV show at the end of the day, so please keep it civil online and don't send any hate to any of the queens. Just enjoy this drama passively and keep things polite in the comments. So there you go, there was the final Have Your Say video for Global All-Stars. Let me know in the comments what your final thoughts on the season were. And if there were to be a season 2 of Global All-Stars, which queens would you like to see compete from which countries? And if you'd like to get early access to my videos as well as have your comments featured in my Have Your Say videos, please check out my Patreon and consider supporting me. It goes such a long way to helping support my channel and I really appreciate it. And I'll put a link to my Patreon in the description. I'd also like to say a massive thank you to all of my Patreon members who are amazing and support me every month. Thank you so much for being part of my Patreon. I really appreciate it and I really do love my Patreon community. You are all legends. If you liked this video, please remember to like and comment on the video to help tell the algorithm that this is a great video, and make sure you hit the subscribe button because it really does make such a big difference to my channel. Thank you for watching and I hope you'll join me again in future videos. Thank you, bye!